Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Operation Status Quo here on Friday. Congratulations, you made it to Friday. Even more congratulations, you made it here to Operation Status Quo. That's a win-win for everybody. How we doing out there today on a Friday, ladies and gentlemen? It's a pleasure to have you here, as it always is. I am Pete Palma. I am your user-friendly host, and this is Operation Status Quo, the place where we observe the status quo of life, the place where we learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then the place, of course, where we create our own flow of quo-yo, because that's the only way to go. And plain and simple, what do we do here, ladies and gentlemen? We just kind of observe life and have a little bit of fun, because that's all life really should be. It should be a bucket of fun mixed in with a few responsibilities that we have to take care of, like showering and eating, I guess, and going to sleep. Other than that, I mean, there's really nothing so serious. It's one of the things I like to say the most, because no matter what's going on in the world and everything, we get so wrapped up in, the physicality of our life and the constraints of our 3D paradigm and such. And, even when we try to figure out the hierarchy of the universe and our existence and stuff, right? People get all, serious about that too. That's what I wanted to do a show about this at one point. I wanted to actually almost tie it into, not yesterday. I think it was when I did the not yesterday, but the day before, whatever I was talking about, I had this in my mind to bring it into that conversation, but I didn't. But I'll make this for something else. But just to quickly say before I start today's topic, but in that search for higher truths and such, this is where everything gets dangerous. And when I talk about all the time, as far as not having so much attachment to any one viewpoint or idea, or when I talk about A Course in Miracles and I say, making the dream real by attachment to whatever we think makes us happy or sad, or, really giving credence to different things, over the top emotionally, without the space of just kind of observing and saying, okay, this is, an energetic vibration that I'm feeling, and how does it play out to what I'm learning? And, instead of having that kind of space, we get involved. And the same thing happens with those who are trying to do, seek spiritual enlightenment, as it were. It's gotten so wishy-washy in some of that, community with, I see a lot of it on YouTube with like the tarot card people. I enjoy watching some of that stuff for fun. And, they're always selling like, the little magic candles, the moon candle or something to set your intention with the full moon or the new moon. And they have these little ritual packets you can buy, and, who's walking around with sage and stuff all the time. I'm not saying it's not right or it's not good. I just mean people get over the top, in that way too. And they become all this fluff of like, oh, I'm a, spiritual and that's just as bad as being like a closed-minded, you know what I'm saying? To me, that's just as bad as being on the other side, where you don't open your mind to any of that stuff at all. So, that's it for that for now. Maybe I'll do a show about that down the line. But, it's just always about finding balance and always having a smile on our face in this existence, and not taking any aspect of our existence so seriously. And, quite honestly, the only thing we can really do, and this is why I say create your own flow of quo. The only thing you can really do in this life is to find as much space as you can to be with breath in that center spot within yourself that, you can reflect and just let life guide you as to what you're supposed to do. And everything else around, all the extra periphery or whatever you want to say is all just extra. And it really just comes down to, resonating with what feels right for you and how to move forward in your day-to-day for the lessons you're supposed to learn and all that type of stuff. But ultimately, this life's not real, right? And, this world's not real, time's not real, everything. So not to dismiss it, like not to enjoy life, but, I'm just trying to say it. Well, everybody that's why our world is the way it is. Think about how seriously everybody takes everything. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in, because everybody's like holding on to these ideals that they believe are, carved in stone, and we have to, follow through no matter what, So anyway, that's all that for now. I went off on a tangent before I even started. But today, ladies and gentlemen, is the 1st of December in the good year 2023. And today's program is entitled Vindictively Delicious. That's right. And I was actually thinking of the old commercial for Lucky Charms, the cereal. And they used to go magically delicious. So I was thinking vindictively delicious. So I'd like to let you know where my titles come from time to time. They come from the ethers, the deep recesses of my barely functioning brain. So today, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about here basically is, I found some information online of phrases that vindictive people use, like to really, get under your skin and that whole passive aggressive thing, trying to be nice. And I found it interesting. I read through this kind of briefly, and you do some of these things I even say sometimes. So I'm just wondering how vindictive I may be and how vindictive you are. We're all human, so we all have our moments. And it's funny because, the big key word lately, is I've noticed over the past couple of years is the whole narcissism thing, and everybody's a narcissist out there. There's a narcissist, that's a narcissist. In a way, we're all kind of narcissistic, right? I mean, we're all, unless you're really over the top, evil in a sense. We're all kind of thinking of ourselves in certain regards, and we all have reactions at times that could be, viewed or construed as being, narcissistic or vindictive. Personally, I try to do my best to not be angry at people. I don't like to, I'm not saying I've never done anything in my life where I've, gotten back at somebody in a way, but I don't do that now, and I'm very conscious and aware of it. I've had multiple situations, really, just even over the past couple of years where, things have happened where, I could have lashed out back at a few people of things that happened. But, I thought to myself, when these type of things happen now, I really just look at it as, if somebody wants to take a behavior in that type of way towards me, me fighting back on that same level, it really does no good for anyone. Because if you really come from the space that we're all human, we're all one energy, we're all brothers and sisters, whatever you want to say, me bringing my vibration down to address, an action on this level is only bringing, more of the totality down, right? If I'm able to stay up here and with the realization that, hey, look, somebody did this to me, and, I don't have to take it personally. I don't have to react to it. This is where they are emotionally and mentally or whatever the case may be, and that's where they are, and that's what they're doing, and they have to deal with that. That's not for me to deal. That's not for me to deal with. Again, it takes a lot of pressure off. It makes a lot of peace. Unless somebody's doing something really horrible that you have to defend yourself or something, otherwise, if somebody starts being a jerk, you're better off, if somebody says something rude to you, you don't have to be, snooty back, you can just be like, okay, I see what's going on. So, and then you just know not to deal with that person, right? But let's see, I'm curious out there. We're going to go through some of these phrases that people who are vindictive say when they want to get under your skin. And let's see how many of these you've heard. And now that you'll hear these, you can be prepared for them. And when you hear these phrases, you can know not to react negatively yourself. So the first one on the list, ladies and gentlemen, is, I didn't know you were trying. I always get a kick out of this stuff, because again, it does come from, mainstream sources, and I just always like to, their take on human relations is always funny to me. But, I didn't know you were trying. This is a sneaky way of saying your efforts are so unimpressive. I didn't even notice them. It is a subtle dig at your abilities, making you question your competence. It's like they're constantly surprised by your attempts to do something worthwhile and not in a good way. This phrase can make people feel invisible, undervalued, as if your efforts are never enough to get noticed. It's a blow to your self-esteem wrapped up in the ignorance of your hard work. So anyway, but again, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to take the reaction to that, right? Just see what they say, how they say it here is, it's a blow to your self-esteem, but it doesn't have to be a blow to your self-esteem. If you're working hard and somebody goes, I didn't know you were trying, in the back of your mind, you go, why don't you go fuck yourself? And then you just keep going, because if they can't appreciate the effort, even if a person doesn't, do well, at something. But if they're really, giving an effort, trying, that shows the value of their integrity and such, right? And that should be recognized as opposed to the actual competency of the completion of the task. Depending on what that task is and whether that person should be qualified or not is another story. But at the end of the day, right, if somebody says that to you, so I didn't know you were trying. So no, listen, by the way, if you do want to get back at people and be vindictive, you can remember some of these as well to say, all right? Bless your your heart is another one. This one is a classic in the world of passive-aggressive jabs. It's often used to imply you're naive or ignorant, but masked in a tone of concern or pity. It's like they're putting I apologize because, sometimes I have to read it twice because of my eyes in these words. It's like they're patting you on the head while smirking behind your back. This phrase is especially insidious because it's often delivered in such a sweet tone that it can be hard to call out without seeming like the unreasonable one, right? Because I've had that when people say that to me too. People have said stuff like that to me. A good example is I'll give you a good example of this one. Years ago, when I first started my job, it was like back in 2008, and I had to get for direct deposit, for my paycheck. I didn't really want direct deposit. It was the first time I was ever getting direct deposit. I was used to always getting my check in my hand and go to the bank and I cash my check. But I had to get direct deposit, which I did, which eventually, led to, me paying my bills online as opposed to writing checks. And when this was going on, the person who was sitting next to me, happens to be a good friend of mine now, but at the time, we were talking about it. I was saying, I don't like all this online stuff. And she was like, well, what do? Do you write checks for your, how do you pay your bills? She said, and I said, I write checks for all my, she goes, you write checks for all your bills? And she went, oh, that's so cute. Basically saying, wow, what a loser. You're sitting there writing checks when you could just push a button and pay everything online. I will say that I do pay everything online now. It's much easier. I don't even have stamps anymore. So please, you won't be getting a Christmas card from me this year unless you really want them. And if you would like a Christmas card, an official Operation Status Quo Christmas card, let me know in the comments and I will send one to you. Okay? I guess you did your best is another one here on the list. Of course, this phrase is loaded with patronizing overtones that suggest that even your best efforts are inadequate and disappointing. It's demoralizing and can make you feel like all isn't enough and probably never will be in their eyes. But anyway, and again, this is like, you can't react to this, right? If somebody says, well, I guess you did your best. I mean, yeah, I did my best. If it's not good enough for you, let me know, and then I'll move on to somebody else, right? I guess you did your best. You've changed is another one here on the list. You've changed, but not for the better. How many people have said that to you? I can't say that I've really ever heard that one. I don't say that to people either. There's a couple on this list that I do resonate with, but not that one so much. But if they say you've changed, but not for the better, here, they're insinuating that any personal growth or change in you is negative. It's a way to make you feel guilty for evolving or shifting priorities. It's like they're saying the old you was better and they disapprove of the new you. This phrase is a way for them to express their discomfort with your growth, often because it threatens their perception of you. And you have to remember, and I'll say this, I probably did say this already before I even started, but, when people are attacking you like this or demeaning you in any type of way for whatever purpose, I mean, it just speaks for itself in that. I mean, you don't have to worry about whether they're narcissistic or being vindictive or, what emotional trauma they have that they're treating you this way. In the grand scheme of why we're here as far as a humanity and such, and I talk about it all the time that we should be looking to build each other up, and instead of judging and criticizing, we should encourage and guide, But, a lot of people out there, they don't want people to change, right? Because sometimes you fit into their little picture in a certain way that makes them feel comfortable. And then if you change your behaviors, it throws them off. And now they want you to feel like a piece of crap because they don't know what to do with themselves because they don't have the opportunity. Well, they do have the opportunity, but they don't have the wherewithal for all there to have the time and space to reflect on themselves and see how they would like to grow and be better. Anybody should look at anybody who grows in their life emotionally, mentally, spiritually, whatever the case may be. Anytime someone is showing some sort of personal growth in some sort of way, it should be applauded and celebrated and realized, and should almost be an inspiration to others. Like, wow, this person really came a long way. They used to be like this and did a lot of these type of things, and boy, they really kind of took on a new way, and I'm really impressed, and I can do that for myself as well. It should be looked at that way. A lot of times, I mean, all the time, basically, if somebody's putting you down or trying to chop you down for whatever you're trying to do, it's really a reflection of their own fears and insecurities. Another one here on the list is I'm not mad, just disappointed. And coming from an Italian family, this was a good guilt trip that we would get all the time. Oh no, I'm not mad. I'm just very disappointed in your behavior. She's like, oh yeah, I am a piece of crap, aren't I? But this one is all about guilt tripping. That's right. It's manipulative and a way to express disapproval while making you feel worse. It's more cutting than anger because it implies that you've let somebody down profoundly. So yeah, that's a good, nice passive aggressive way. It's like, oh, I'm not mad. No, I'm not mad. Everybody makes mistakes, but I'm so disappointed in you, your whole essence, just the fact that you exist. I'm disappointed. But parents love that one, right? So that's a good one to use. And this one here, when people say anything to you that it goes, you always or you never, whatever the accusation may be, but you always or you never, using absolutes like always or never is their way of generalizing a single instance or behavior to define your entire character. It's unfair and creates an exaggerated and negative narrative about you. These phrases can trap you in a no-win situation where you're left defending your overall character instead of addressing a specific issue. So it's like, and the truth is nobody always and nobody never, right? You always this, you always that, and you, and aside from just the you always and you never, you make me feel, when people do that kind of thing too, you make me feel, you did this to me, and we always have to remember that, we are manifestors and creators, and what we see in our day-to-day outside, physical life is merely a reflection of what's going on the inside. So, if someone's pointing the finger, you did this. And I try to be mindful of that myself all the time. Like, something will happen that'll agitate me, right? And I think, oh, that, and I was going to say, oh, it's not them. I got to be calm. It's not them. It's my own trigger for whatever reason. They didn't do this to me. I'm choosing to react this way, right? I mean, you have to be thinking that way. And obviously people who are saying these type of things are not thinking that way. And that's why they're saying these types of things. The next one here on the list is, well, at least I didn't, and then whatever action you want to insert there. But, well, at least I didn't do such and such, however people might want to say it. This deflection tactic is used to divert attention from their wrongdoing by pointing out something you've done that's supposedly worse. It's a way to make themselves look better by comparison and make you feel worse. It's a classic case of whataboutism used to shift your focus away from their actions and onto yours. So it's like, I don't know, you could be doing something, you could walk in on your spouse and find them cheating on you. And you're like, oh my God, what are you doing in bed with this person? Oh, well, at least I didn't break the lawnmower. At least I didn't, forget to put gas in the car and got stuck on the road. It's like, I know, but can you maybe just get out of bed? Are you still in the midst of all this? Like they could be going at it, and it's like, it's like, honey, why are you cheating on me? Well, at least I didn't, blow up the microwave. At least I didn't leave the refrigerator door open all night and the milk spoiled. It's like, I know, but you're literally sleeping with someone else in front of me right now, So don't let these people push you around, ladies and gentlemen, with that kind of nonsense. We don't stand for that here on Operation Status Quo. We're all beautifully self-empowered people, with a calm, easy, respectful, reverent, gracious mindset. That's what it's all about here. Next one on the list is, I don't want you to say I told you so, but I did tell you so, right? They use this phrase to gloat under the guise of being reluctant to do so. It's their way of highlighting your failure and their supposed wisdom or foresight in a self-satisfied manner. That would be like me. I can see saying that, like when all the truth finally starts. Well, I mean, truth is already truth is relative and all that anyway, as far as all that crap goes. But let's just say, like, they finally come out and they show that Trump won the election, or they finally come out and show, that these chemtrails and they're spraying all this shit, or they finally come out and show, the level of crime in our politics, or they come out and show the human trafficking. These things come out. I can see saying, wow, I've only been saying this since, the fake pandemic started, so I've been trying to tell you people, but nobody wants to listen. I keep telling myself, remember, when this happens, don't say I told you so. I do say that to myself. Don't ever say I told you so. Another one on the list is no offense, but right, that's a good one. This is a classic prelude to a blatantly offensive statement. By stating no offense, they give themselves a false license to be as hurtful as they want while pretending to maintain a veneer of politeness. This usually follows with a blunt, insensitive comment that they fully intend to be offensive. And I will joke about this one a little bit because I always used to tease with people. And I never said no offense. I always go, I don't mean any disrespect, but I don't mean any. I would talk to people and say stuff like, I don't mean disrespect, but like, what the fuck's your problem? You know what I'm saying? So, but when somebody comes out and says, no offense, but you're just a total piece of shit, or no offense, but everything you do is horrible in this world. But it is a good way of deflection. I don't mean it. Listen, I just want to say, I don't mean anything bad by this, but everything I'm about to say is a total blatant insult of your character and your existence in general. Oh my God. Now, this is one that I do use sometimes, but not in the way of trying to be vindictive. When people say "just kidding" after saying something mean, this is their way of masking a hurtful comment as a joke. If you get upset, they'll accuse you of not having a sense of humor, effectively shifting the blame onto you and being too sensitive. It's a cowardly way to deliver a sting and then retreat behind the guise of humor. It undermines your feelings and belittles your reaction to their offensive behavior. And remember, you don't have to, the way they say this here, it belittles you, it undermines you, it hurts your feelings, all these type of things that they say. Remember, that doesn't have to be. It's up to you to choose, how you feel. But I did do that a lot because I got my little, sarcastic sense of humor and such. And, I'm pretty good at reading people. And sometimes I know, and I can make little jokes that I know. I mean, because I can see behaviors and I'll bust a joke and then I got to say, oh, just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm really trying to point out that, why are you acting like a dick? You know what I'm saying? But but I am just kidding because, we're all just human. And that's what I get. I should get that a lot. We're here. People would say, hey, Pete, Operation Status Quo. I mean, it's really great. I love it. Just kidding, asshole. Keep trying. I know your views disappear every day. Keep trying. Hey-o. Oh, my gosh. All right. We got a couple more here on the list, and then you're free to go, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you're free to go anytime that you like. Maybe it's just me, but, maybe it's just me, but I don't think so. I think you are a loser, okay? Used to preface a critical or judgmental statement, making it seem like it's simply their opinion and therefore not up to debate. It's a way to invalidate your perspective or actions while absolving themselves of any blame. This phrase is often used to disguise their criticism as mere personal preference, making it harder for you to challenge or confront them on it. I notice a lot of these are saying that these comments, put you in a place of disempowerment of being able to, argue back. And from what, like I said in the beginning, you don't even want to argue back. If people were coming at you with some sort of dismissive way, then it's just, you just move on and that's it. You don't have to involve yourself with these type of people, right? You're being too sensitive is another one on the list. I used to hear this a lot. Oh, you're so sensitive. Oh, you're so sensitive. And it's just like, I know I am a little bit sensitive at times, but at the same time, when somebody's like a jerk, and I speak up and say I don't appreciate that, and they tell me I'm being sensitive. Like, well, you say I'm being sensitive, but I'm trying to explain to you who I am and how I feel, and hearing this type of stuff or being presented to me in this way, it doesn't flow in a positive manner, okay? But no, you're being too sensitive. So if somebody tells you you're being too sensitive, just you give them the finger, walk away, and then you can go cry in the corner and get it all out. Okay. Two more. If you really cared about me, you would such and such. Yes, I've heard that before too. If you really cared about me, you would do such and such. The truth is, if that person really cared about you, they wouldn't put you in a position to do something that was out of your wheelhouse, right? I mean, that's the whole purpose of caring about people, is knowing each other's boundaries, limitations, weaknesses, and strengths. And then you wouldn't say, for example, just say you're married and you hate going, the husband hates going, to the mall with the wife. She likes to go shopping. He doesn't like to shop, right? Or something like that. And then, she would say, if you really cared about me, you would just tag along in the mall and be miserable and follow me around while I'm, spending all your money. So, but people should do, you shouldn't, I don't know, it's a weird thing, right? If you really cared about me, you would. It's like, well, I do really care about you. And if you really cared about me, you wouldn't say that if I really cared about you. That should be the simple answer to that one. If you really cared about me, you would do such and such. Oh yeah? Well, if you really cared about me, you would know better and you wouldn't ask me to do such and such. So now we're at a stalemate. All right. Last one on the list here today, ladies and gentlemen, is you wouldn't understand. Do you understand? Do you understand anything I do here on Operation Status Quo? I hope you do, because I love you people out there, and we're just expressing joy and love, and that's what we do on Operation Status Quo. But you wouldn't understand. This phrase is patronizing and dismissive. It's used to undermine your intelligence or experience, suggesting that you're incapable of grasping the situation from their point of view. It's a way of shutting down conversation and asserting your superiority while making you feel small. I don't know if I said this right, but asserting their superiority while making you feel small and excluded. There's nothing worse than a condescending person, aside from a vindictive person, of course. And so for somebody, would say you wouldn't understand, sometimes you might not understand, right? I mean, if you got to explain something, sometimes you might not understand. Sometimes it's a lot to explain a whole thing. It's like, listen, it's a lot to explain. And, it doesn't, that one could be on the fence a little bit, because sometimes people may not understand, right? But it always depends on how it's said. But you wouldn't understand, ladies and gentlemen, just like you don't understand me. Why don't you understand me out there? I love you people. So that's what I got for you here today on Operation Status Quo. So let me know what you think. Drop some comments down in the comments. Let me know if you've heard some of these phrases. Do you utilize some of these phrases? Do you know some vindictive phrases that might be even better for us to utilize? But we don't want to be vindictive. That's what we don't preach that here on Operation Status Quo. We don't want people to be mean. I'm all about, I get fired up sometimes, and I'm all about standing your ground and, speaking up and bucking the system and, creating a life that's, better in a way. But, that's all subjective and my perception as well. We all have different perceptions of what that may be. So it goes back to the very, very beginning when I kind of just said about no matter what, we have to just, find a space to resonate from our heart space, live from there, let God, life, and God guide our lives, and just go with the flow, go with the flow, and not try to get too wrapped up in all the worldly stuff that's going on. So, and don't get wrapped up in these crazy things. If people say these things to you, you're good. No matter what, somebody says something like this to you, you get a hold of me, all right? Because I love you out there. I love you individually as well as a group. I say it all the time. Do I not? Do I not? Yes, I do. All right. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, please. I shouldn't say make sure. Please like, subscribe, share. Send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course those you despise as well. I already said I love you and all that. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Until Monday, ladies and gentlemen, Operation Status Quo disengaged.